I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it. Listen, Shannon Sharp's legal team may have just pulled the greatest and quickest in no time, the greatest Uno reverse card on false accuser is what I believe this is going to turn out to be, following these headlines of Shannon Sharp being allegedly accused of taking advantage of a woman. Now, things you should know so far that I know based on the last video is they were in a relationship, right? That's one. Two, Shannon Sharp's been making a lot of success and money. And doesn't it just seem strange that as a man moves up, this seems to be the play to bring him down? More on that later. I want to read the rest of these text messages that are exposing this chick whose last name they were using, the no thing. But now they just have her name here listed on this document, who after these texts I'm about to read has now officially become the biggest freak currently on Instagram. Because this is crazy. We're going to read that first one again. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me. Choke me with it while you're effing me. Sent by Gabriela Zuniga in a text to Shannon Sharp, October 7, 2023. There's another one. This next one says, I know you miss this big juicy ASS, $25K for each cheek. And so it sounds like there might have been some cashing out going on here too. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I see. She's pricing each cheek at $25K. And she's sending these text messages, right? This is the same chick who says that she was forced into the car and forced into the room and forced into a relationship apparently for 2 years or however long it was. I'm not exactly sure. But guys, real quick, I can't be the only one who sees this and doesn't think this is the solution. This is the solution when we see a chick who we think, hey, that looks like a money grab. And she's doing that. Why do they feel so bold enough to do this? Because they know that they don't face consequences. What would the consequence be if every man who's being falsely accused took this route? The consequence would be that now we know your dirty little secrets. We know that you are a freak. And yes, people can assume it, but it's another thing for there to be just plain bold face proof. I mean, could you imagine? Like, just look back. Could you imagine what the different perception a case like maybe the Tory Lanez case, right? And I'm using any case from recent past. I've already said that I believe I don't think Tory Lanez is an angel. He made his mistakes, got involved with toxic women, this and that. Don't let go of the alcohol and drugs. Whole lot of lessons in that situation. But could you imagine for a second how much differently the public perception, right, would be if you could read those texts, if we had access to those receipts? And I'm sure there are probably some like legality issues or some measures that are put to stop people, but could you imagine? Because first off, we know she didn't want people to know that she was sexually involved with Tory, right? We're talking about Megan Thee Stallion. Why? Because she lied on Gayle King in our faces. And then later on admitted like, yeah, I lied. Could you imagine what those texts look like and how differently you would see the situation if you saw the invitations and the slide throughs and the creeping? Of course, the man would look kind of crazy too. There'll be some privacy concerns and probably things that man wouldn't want out there. But if it's the difference between a 10-year sentence that Tory Lanez is currently facing and anything else, then I'm sure no one would care. Or any other situation you can think of. Johnny Depp situation. You've got the Jonathan Majors situation. Anyways, there's more here. The rest of this document goes on to read, this lawsuit filed by Gabriela Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, who, by the way, is ruining his reputation by every failed case he's putting out here, is a blanket and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharp for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misinterpretations and will not succeed. Goes on to read, in her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharp with a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context. Wow. So in the last video, I thought, okay, maybe these were security cameras in his house that captured this moment. And it's even worse than that. It's her taking the video and heavily editing it and refusing to show the original video, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non-consensual. Ms. Zuniga has refused to provide a copy of the full unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharp's legal team. To set the record straight, we're releasing several of Ms. Zuniga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharp that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and sexual in nature, and in many cases, initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Oh, she's a freak. She wanted this. She wanted the dog collar around her neck. Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd, 2025. Also, she tried to even shorten the whole relationship they had. The day after, she asked for $25K per cheek, as quoted above from her text message to Mr. Sharp. There are other examples of texts from Miss Zuniga, for example. Now, you guys got to know, when I originally saw this, I thought to myself, so they ended this on a cliffhanger here at the bottom on purpose, right? To kind of be like, hey, if you want to keep going with this, we have more text. To my surprise, when I went over to confirm that they ended it at a cliffhanger, I found that they did not, in fact, do that. They did have other text messages here, and the document is this one, right? It continues. And so they have more. So this one is a text message that sort of doesn't really make sense to me. It says, only if you put that baby gravy in me, then I can do whatever I want. Then I'm assuming it's supposed to say, then you can do whatever you want to me. So, okay, I think I get this now. Baby gravy, obviously she wants him to bust inside of her and she wants to get pregnant. I mean, she wants the ultimate meal ticket. And she probably thought that she might get it until she found out about Michelle. You know, I don't know. I'm speculating here, right? The woman in the video, man, Sharp has been getting caught up. He's been getting caught up these last few years. Next text here says, I want to put my tongue in your cheeks and then marry you. Next text message. We're just going to keep going. That's my daddy. F, I want you to put a big black baby in me. Yeah. It's at this moment that Shannon Sharp probably saw that he was in too deep. When you start getting texts, when a woman starts fantasizing about having your baby, then you know that you're in too deep. You're gonna pay for this somehow, some way. Somehow, some way, you're getting either your car's getting scratched or the tires are getting slashed, or you're getting a bunch of pop-ups unannounced, or maybe all the above, and then you end up in jail. Next text message. And so, by the way, these all have dates, right? Like this one says Gabriella, August 6, 2024. The one before that, January 12, 2024. This next one says, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. August 11, 2024 from Gabriella. They go on to say these text messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphic sexual communications initiated by Ms. Zuniga. The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zuniga. The edited tape that Ms. Zuniga secretly recorded and showed Mr. Sharp during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages, that the sexual activity was non-consensual. But Mr. Sharp now believes her secret taping was all part of her planned setup, you think, as part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tape. Where is the original? Where is the original? She probably destroyed it. Goes on to read a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharp or his counsel. Mr. Sharp categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of grape, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these allegations, his false claims, vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication through due process and judgment based on the facts and the law. Lastly, my final conclusion is, can you imagine how these situations are going to go when AI gets to the point where it can just like perfectly clone videos where it's almost impossible to catch with the human eye, whether it's real or false? Crazy times. It should be blatantly obvious to anybody today that this is how they bring down great men today. And I think eventually men are about to get so tired of it that there has to be something that has to be done. But think of every man, right? Any man who wants to be brought down. If they can't ruin his reputation or brand, and people still respect him in some form or fashion, then the last final attempt is some accusation of him taking advantage of a woman. The biggest example, I think, recently was Donald Trump. You had him, and people, because of their biases, and sometimes it's somebody who you don't like, right? But because of their biases, they know that emotional spot, who, of course, number one, get the attention of emotional women, right? Modern women who are like, oh my goodness, he probably is a monster. If you're successful, you're prone to be put into that category, right? And then you have, oh, I can't believe I didn't think about this the first time, Russell Brand. And I think men have to sit there and ask themselves, like, is it just coincidence? And do you really think all the other people you see who keep their jobs but stay in line, do you really think that those guys are any better? And do you also think that the chicks who get caught up with these men, that they're not out here selling their body, that they're not out here acting like prostitutes and escorts? Anyways, of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think. This is one hell of a job, I think, from the team. And I believe this is the way going forward. This is the way. Because if a woman knew she would be falsely accusing somebody, but that man will show you being a straight up freak, thirsty, hungry for all types of freaky shit, and the whole public would know, oh, they would think twice. They would think twice, for sure. They would definitely think twice. Listen, as always, I appreciate you guys checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. What do you think? Till next time, I'm out. Peace.